Mike Israetel is an absolute menace to society and must be stopped at all costs, and he is the absolute prime example for why most people need a coach in the gym. Now, I do really like Mike, and he's obviously a very, very intelligent guy, and he's got his PhD and being a university lecturer, and his ability to hold and store information is just like second to none. And obviously that is just one facet of intelligence, but it's the way he explains it as well. He can go all super science nerd on you, but he can also, and what he does most of the time, is explain things in very simple terms, and it's a lot easier to digest. And so much so, I've told you that after you watch me, it's probably a good idea to go and watch some of his videos, because you will learn a lot about training. I agree with the vast majority of what he says about training and how you should train, and how you should diet, and I've seen him critique other people's dog shit training, and I agree with that as well. And I just think a lot of the times he is absolutely spot on. However, when he talks about himself and his own training, he is bordering on unhinged. You're gonna have to bear with me because I'm a little bit choked with the cold, but one way to help cure me quicker is by liking the video and subscribing. And just remember that I am bigger and better YouTuber than Mike Israetel and anyone else, and you don't want to not be subscribed to me, because you would just be missing out on a lot of good shit. So make sure you're subscribed to hear common sense and training knowledge and just good vibes all round. See, you like the video and I feel better already. Now, the first time I thought Mike was a little bit iffy is actually when I seen his own training that he was posting on his Instagram, and there was a lot of stuff that was like pretty much out there, and it was very overcomplicated, and I wasn't quite sure why he was doing it and the way he was doing it as well. And I was just like, that doesn't totally seem like what I've heard you talk about what other people should be doing in the gym, never mind what I think you should be doing. But I was like, okay, fair enough, I'm just going to kind of trust that you know what you're doing for you and you know your body better than anyone. But then it kind of went one step further when I heard him talking about what he does for his diet, and specifically what he was doing on the run up to his contest prep, where he was almost like bragging about how he was eating cereal and drinking Gatorade.
Kind of a lot of cereal, 16 ounces of milk, about 16 ounces there.
And how that was going to get him ready to win a pro bodybuilding card. And the resulting disaster was him going on stage attempting to win his pro card, and even for Masters, and I think it was Masters he was competing in anyway, he was like miles off it, to the point where he quite comfortably had another 4 weeks worth of diet and he would have had to do to be stage ready, and I'd argue it could have probably been closer to like 5 or 6, and it was just like this big massive letdown. And what's happened is he's ended up becoming a little bit of a meme, because rather than just take accountability for it and just come out and say, look, I didn't do this right, could have done this better, this went wrong, and just own up to it, he's almost become a little bit of a meme, because the way that he sort of analysed the whole situation was like really, really, really bizarre. He said the main reason that he didn't look great was because of his tan.
So we got tanning done by a tanning company. They under-tanned the living crap out of me. I had a bunch of people come up, reach out, experts and stuff, and they're like, you're in pretty goddamn good shape. Top 3 kind of shape, but you can't come in with color like this.
And that he basically holds an excessive, ungodly amount of water weight.
So I have quite unique physiology. It would take me like 2 or 3 days of water depletion to look my best. And so I ended up carrying 20 pounds of body water on stage.
Which I've heard him talk about before, and I've heard him talk about his physique. He says, like, I've never known anybody to hold as much water weight as me, and I just kind of took him at his word, because why would I not at this point? I just sort of just assumed he would be telling the truth, but he would just like deal with the supposed problem when he would need to, going on a bodybuilding stage, but it looked like he definitely didn't. He's been going on about how he holds like 9 or 10 kilos worth of water weight that he can't get rid of, and from when he bulked up when he was younger, he's got these like love handles that are just pure water, not body fat, but pure water.
I have like big love handles that store a lot of water from back when I got fat on purpose to try to like do the spirit bulk.
And they're just there, and there's nothing that he can do to get rid of them. And just for the sake of any debate here, I hope you're just 100% clear that this wasn't to do with the tan, and this was nothing to do with the water weight. He just came on stage just underprepared. He just didn't get lean enough. It's as simple as that, and no amount of tan would change that. No amount of tan would make him look vastly different. And what he's saying is he's got extra water weight that he's carrying. It is not water weight, it's like fat. Like, that's not how water weight works. You don't like have these pockets on your body that from when you bulked up 15 years ago, you just keep forever. Like, it's just like not a thing. And unfortunately, this showing has aged even worse for him, because there's clips going around of him outwardly saying,
I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than
almost every coach, maybe every coach. I know more about physiology, body responses, etc. than they do. If I don't trust you intellectually and I think I can do a better job doing what you do than you, it becomes a real big problem for me to follow your advice.
And somehow in the last couple of weeks, he's actually topped this with something that I think might be even more carnage. Tristan Lee, who you probably know is the little 13-year-old shredded kid who's been on Instagram and TikTok and all that for years, he asked Mike and his partner in RP Strength to coach him because he said that he's barely made any gains in, I think it was well over a year, and he wanted to gain some serious size. And to give you the Cliff Notes version of what happened, the calories they started him on didn't make him gain any weight, which is understandable because in the first few weeks there will be a little bit trial and error to find out exactly where the client is, but it didn't last for a week or two. It lasted for 8 full weeks.
Okay.
From the start,
Yeah,
and we dropped weight.
We dropped weight.
Yeah.
How long did it take for your weight to start moving up?
2 months maybe?
Longer than
crap.
expected. Yeah.
2 months.
So you-
And this wasn't by design or anything. It wasn't a case where we need to lean him down before pushing back up, because he was already sitting single digit body fat, and his clear problem was he couldn't gain any weight or size. And then after the 8-week mark, Tristan gained 17 kilos in 6 months, and this was like a lean 17 kilos with no body fat being gained at all. And he was talking about how he was like dumbbell pressing like 30 odd kilos, and he went up to dumbbell pressing 50 kilos for the same reps with the same technique, and they just all conveniently left out that it was juicing to the absolute tits. But my point being here is that in that first 8 weeks where Tristan wasn't gaining the weight that he wanted, Mike clearly didn't lack the intelligence to know that he wasn't eating enough calories, and he clearly wasn't in a calorie surplus, because being in a calorie surplus to gain weight is like nutrition like 101. He was just being conceited and wanting to believe what he thought would happen was going to happen, and rather than just adapt and change, he would rather dig his heels in and just like try and prove himself right in the first place, because that's what he wanted to believe. So what is the point in all this, and how the hell is this going to help you? What I'm getting at here is the vast majority of people cannot coach themselves, because when they're coaching themselves, they're too emotionally invested and they are absolutely incapable of making logical and rational decisions. You want what you're doing to work, and you want to be right, and when you're not getting results and things aren't going your way, rather than conceding and accepting that what you're doing maybe isn't the best way to go about things and it's not going to get you results, you'll just double down and you'll just like be stubborn, and you'll just not think logically about it, and you'll just keep going and keep going and keep going and trying to fit a square shaped object in a round shaped hole. Been there a few times on a Saturday night myself. You just get more and more frustrated, and your decision making just goes to shit, and you get frustrated and you keep trying harder to make something that's not going to work, and you just end up in this cycle of shite where you just don't get any further forward. And that's why every single top athlete has a coach, and it's not necessarily because the coach can do the skill, the sport, whatever it is, better than them. It's because they just can't make rational decisions when it comes to themselves, and that's normal. That's not like a criticism or anything, and you're always better when you're making decisions, taking emotion out of it, because it is really hard to make good decisions when you're emotional, and that goes for any walk of life. Think about when you get in an argument with your girlfriend or parents or whatever, and when emotions are running high, and some of the stupid things that you'll say and come out with, and it's the exact same thing with your training. And when you are emotional, you just can't make good decisions, and you end up doing things you'll later regret. And all top athletes, from C-Bum to Ronaldo to LeBron, like they've all got coaches in all aspects of their training, and that's why they leave the decision making to them, and they follow the plan, and the emotion is totally taken out it for them. And it's the exact same when you take it down to the level of people that I work with. And then what you'll also do as well, you'll also just start making ridiculous mental excuses as to why what you're trying is not giving you any progress, and that's exactly what Dr. Mike's done, and he just clearly cannot see reality when it comes to themselves, and it's purely down to emotion. It's not down to intelligence at all, and he just can't see it, and he's just choosing to try and convince himself that it's because of the tan, it's because of the water weight, it's because of this and that he wasn't getting the results that he wanted with the bodybuilding. And then when he's coaching, rather than just like, okay, I maybe misjudged that wrong in the first place, let's change the calories, it's just like, no, I'm right, we need to keep going, we need to keep going. And that's the thing, when you are a coach, you have to just actually accept being wrong at times, and sometimes your best estimations, like, just might not be accurate. But that's totally fine, just as long as you adapt and change it. And the amount of times that, you know, I'll have you know, program numbers for someone or put somebody on calories. And as I said, there sometimes are little like tweaks that you need to make when it doesn't go to plan straight away. But that's all just part and part of coaching. And that's why I'm so hands-on with my clients every week, so I know that whatever plans I put them in place, I can see it if it's working and if it's not working, and I'm always going to change things if it's not. But back to you, if you find yourself getting emotional and just saying mental things to make excuses why you're not making progress, and just in general you feel like you're always deciding things after you have a bad training session, or you jump on the scale and you see that you've went up in weight, or whatever it is you're trying to do and things aren't going to plan, and then it's in that split second that's where you make the decision for your next step, then it's not any surprise why you're still in the same position and you'll continue to stay in the same position, unfortunately. And you should be really considering finding yourself a coach so that you can just take the emotion out of it and you can just put your trust in someone else and let them guide you and make the decisions for you. Because right now, when you're getting all pissy and antsy and just not thinking clearly, it's not helping anything. I'm half an hour in recording this and I think probably 25 minutes off it's just been me sniffing, so I'm going to get a quick getaway. Bye.